On this episode, we talk about Samoa Joe and NXT, the Authority going stale, Zack Ryder's opportunity, Elimination Chamber predictions, and tons more right now on ByteThat. Welcome everybody, you are listening to episode 92 of ByteThat, a weekly podcast where we discuss, argue, love, hate, and all that good stuff about the WWE and the rest of the Squared Circle. Thanks for tuning in and checking out the show. Remember, we are available every single Tuesday night on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, ByteThat.com, and of course, our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ByteThatCast. My name is Juan Velas. I am from San Juan, Puerto Rico, and joining me as always, first, from Boston, Massachusetts, the sex stallion, Ryan McNulty.
What's going on, Juan? It's always weird to watch Raw coming off of a long weekend because it still feels like a weekend, and you're used to Raw just being like a weekly thing. But nevertheless, excited to talk some wrestling.
A lot of good stuff happening. We got Chamber, which is why we have our caged man himself from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. The Cage, Keith Polshik, people.
You guys, I discuss, argue, hate, love you both. I just want you to know that.
It's part of the life that is the ByteThat Wrestling Podcast. And guys, this feels weird because usually we're still developing towards the next pay-per-view that's a couple of weeks away. But we have the Chamber coming up Sunday. How are you guys getting adjusted to the fact that this is a thing that's happening?
It's very quick. I mean, we've had the 3-week build-ups to pay-per-views, but this is the first one I can think of that's a 2-week build-up. But you know what? For all things considered, it's actually shaping up to be a pretty strong card, given the short amount of time that they had to build it.
I mean, this is a really good example of it doesn't matter how long they have to build it, it's what they do at that time, because this is probably one of the better built pay-per-views, even though it's only been 2 weeks since the last one.
No, that's what...
At least excitement-wise, I should say.
No, by far. I mean, the Cena, Kevin Owens thing alone sells the pay-per-view. Then you have not one, but 2 Elimination Chamber matches. It's freaking ridiculous. But I want to get to Raw, and there's the dog that's just barking. I apologize for that. But Raw starts... and the King of Kings theme played. King of Kings theme played, I should say. And it hurt me. I don't know why. Just this Raw, for whatever reason.
I have a question. Tell me if you guys are feeling this as well. Are you beginning to slowly resent that theme just because you know what comes next?
I actually was watching Raw, and they hadn't even played the theme yet. But in my head, I was already like humming the theme.
Oh, here we go.
Knowing, because I mean, it's getting a little formulaic where, you know, we start and end with an Authority segment, and, you know, it's just like, oh, here's the opening promo that's going to set the tone for the rest of the night. And there's, you know, everything is always Authority centric. I mean, they could really afford to just try something different every once in a while.
Exactly, because it's not directly against the Authority. I think they work with what they have, especially with Seth Rollins and the Triple H thing with the pedigree and all that. But as you mentioned, Ryan, it's so formulaic. Like the fact that Raw hasn't begun and you can already feel, you know, just Lemmy, just Motorhead. Like we are starting to hate Motorhead, and that should never be a thing. That should never be an option. You know, there's so many legendary theme songs by Lemmy and all of them. But then how do you guys feel about the Authority? Like they came out, you know, we're saying this, you know, whenever they open up Raw, we know what to expect. But as it progresses, what are you guys feeling about it?
The Authority kind of feels like it's dragging along, only in the way that, you know, they were much more involved in these more compelling stories, like with the whole Daniel Bryan thing, and basically just having like this reign of terror over Raw, and even the whole Stephanie McMahon Brie Bella stuff of like last summer. Like it seems like they were more involved, and now it's like it's about Seth Rollins now, but which is fine, but I feel like the Authority part is just very monotonous. It's not as compelling as it used to be. Whereas even though Seth Rollins is doing great work.
Well, even beyond Seth Rollins, it's getting weird because they always hint at these little things of story development, but none of them end up happening. Like, look at the entire Kane development over the last month and a half. Every week is Kane finally going to turn? Nope. Okay, next week. Is Kane going to finally turn? Nope. Next week. And so on and so forth. It's like they're in a loop of like constant non-development.
Yeah, it feels like in a couple of times you could tell something was about to happen. Kane, Seth Rollins, or the Authority being gone, but just something happens where they feel the obligation to stretch it out. I know there's multiple reports saying the USA loves Stephanie McMahon, the network, not just America. They love, the Authority and all these guys, have them on TV, and I don't think that's the problem, but it's when the characters don't change. Last week we talked a lot about Bray Wyatt. It's the same situation. Great foundation, great people, do something else with them. Originally the Dana Bryan thing was the real peak of the Authority. And ever since then, it's Triple H and Stephanie, and they're sort of in charge. Yeah.
Yeah. And the Kane stuff, it still could lead somewhere, but it really hasn't been the most compelling thing going.
Well, let me ask you then, if the Kane thing happened at Elimination Chamber, would you still be excited for it, or has that window of opportunity already passed? I don't think I've ever been excited for it. But I mean, we talked a couple weeks ago about the whole, this has potential to be something cool.
There was a couple shining moments, the whole El Torito line and things like that. And you know what?
But has that moment passed already? Because I kind of feel like it has.
Yes, it has. If they were going to capitalize on that momentum, it should have been like Kane's last run. Basically, before he's going to retire, he rebels against the Authority, goes against Rollins, like one last shot, put his career on the line or something like that. And I think everyone would be into that. But I feel like the momentum's been kind of lost. But if they were to do something that, with, high stakes, I think they could kind of get the audience back interested in it.
With me, it had to be not so much of the conclusion. I felt like a golden retriever waiting for a frisbee to be thrown so I could catch it. Yes, I thought of this very deeply. Where
that dog is getting to you.
Yes. where it's the whole process of like, when that happens, but when you catch it, right, it's Kane. At the end of the day, it's Kane. So what happens then? And I think they missed that opportunity, at least for me, where I could have gotten something out of it like 2-3 weeks ago. But now if it happens, you have other things. Now it's clearly the Triple H pedigree thing. There are other situations happening with Seth Rollins, and I don't think they should now go back to Kane when they actually had a really good opportunity with that. But I do want to change the topic now to the love story, the beautiful love story that is currently happening between Ron, Rusev, and the ravishing Lana, because Russia doesn't exist at all. It never happened. It was never an option, people. But yeah, we're getting this. We're getting the Dolph Ziggler thing, which continues to be happening. I thought it was going to be a one-off thing, but it's legitimately progressing, and I don't know how to feel about this. I want to take it to you first, Ryan. This Dolph Ziggler thing, we talked about him, where he's too much, but now not only is he too much, but then he's got Lana also by his side.
Yeah, I mean, the way they've kind of done it is they've made Ziggler kind of be like a womanizer type of guy, where it's like he doesn't care about the relationship that's going on. And I mean, I know his t-shirts say steal your girlfriend, so I guess it's appropriate, and maybe that's why they picked Ziggler. But outside of that, it seems completely random. And I can't also pass up on commenting on the whole just dropping Russia thing. Like, we all kind of felt like that was happening last week, and now it's just, WWE's the only game in town that can get away with just, we were all about Russia now. Nope, forget that. That's off the table.
Yeah, remember the last year? We don't.
Yeah, and we all just sit here and we just accept that at face value. We're like, oh yeah, they just dropped the Russia thing. It's like, no, where's the explanation? Where's the storytelling for that?
Which comes with the biggest headache. You drop the Russia thing, but then Lana is still Russian technically, or whatever.
Yeah,
because
you can make an argument for Rusev, because they always said now residing in Russia, and you could always argue that Rusev was doing it for Lana, like he was representing Russia for her, like, he was a mercenary brought in to represent them. But Lana just, dropping the whole thing makes no sense at all. That's where it's completely lost.
And the fact that her accent keeps going.
Yes, no.
Yeah, that doesn't help either.
No, when I said they were, sorry to interrupt, but when they said they were,
it's okay. I see you're fired
up. They were kind of, easing her off the accent. Like, I was listening to a couple other wrestling podcasts. I think Sam Roberts even mentioned the same thing on his podcast. That, like, so I'm glad I'm not alone in that theory that they might be, like, easing her off of that accent.
I'm telling you, if you spend enough time in a country, you're going to adapt their accent. There's a logistical
apparently it can happen in 3 weeks' time, so...
I mean, maybe she, like, really spent a lot of time in the country in the last 3 weeks. But I just don't like that they got rid of the ravishing Russian, and now it's just ravishing. Because Rick Rude called.
The ravishing Lana. Without the alliteration, it just doesn't have the same punch to it, you know?
It really doesn't.
Rusev has had this interesting thing. He was Alexander Rusev. He's just Rusev. Now they just stripped them of Russia, stripped them of the ravishing Russian.
Does he still have his, like, gold star medal? I don't remember.
Gold star medal? What are you talking about?
You know, he had the...
Because he was the hero to the Russian Federation,
you know,
and he had the medal.
What about Russia?
Right.
See what they're doing? Brainwashing.
Sneaky.
Yes, sir. So,
but on the other side of the coin, though, Rusev was really awesome on Raw. Like, the whole jealous boyfriend angle, I think he played that really well. To, like, just say those 3 words, I was wrong. That was an amazing line.
Yeah, I think that's the $1 million thing that's happening right now, which is, what were they going to do with Rusev? He totally is a great character. I don't even know what he is, but there's something about his presence.
He's a great character. I don't know what he is, but he's great.
But
it's awesome.
Like Bray Wyatt, we know his character. You know, we get what he's supposed to be,
but
we just don't feel anything. Yeah, like he's a crazy guy. Come on, go along with me in this.
No, I know what you're saying. You're saying, you know, Bray Wyatt, we know what he is, but we don't get the emotion. In Rusev, we may not know what he is, but we're actually getting the emotion side.
Yes.
Yeah, like he's investing so much time into just working like that. And usually these love triangles or whatever you want to call it, that they don't work. But Dolph Ziggler seems like the odd man out here, and I think nobody expected that to be the case. They thought that Rusev was going to be the Eric Rowan of the situation, but he's actually the, you know, transcending. So I think that's really awesome. But I guess we'll see what happens maybe at the Chamber with the match that's happening or something like that. I do want to get to now the U.S. Championship Challenge match. So they were at the Nassau Coliseum for the very last time. It's getting remodeled. It's going to become smaller, so it's not like it's going away permanently, but probably name change. So whatever the case, there were a lot of rumors that Zack Ryder was going to be the last person to fight for the U.S. Championship.
If you want to talk about love triangles going wrong, let's talk about Zack Ryder.
Exactly. So basically, Zack Ryder versus John Cena happened after we've gotten Neville, we've gotten Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Zack Ryder. Now, this is probably the best crowd to do it for obvious reasons. They had the Entourage people there, which, all right, cool, you know, whatever the case. And it happened. So what did you guys think about Zack Ryder becoming the challenger? Number one, after all the NXT stuff has been happening, and then Zack Ryder.
I mean, if it was a thing, if it was a make or break moment for Zack Ryder, I would definitely say from a performance standpoint, he made it, because he actually had a really great match with Cena. But is there any long-termness in this? I don't think so, because that's kind of the thing that's happening with the John Cena Open Challenge. Everybody gets their 5 seconds of fame, then they just go back to the line. Like, it was basically, you could have replaced Zack Ryder with Stardust's match a few weeks ago, and it seems like the exact same situation happening.
Yeah, that's the perfect example. I was going to mention Stardust. It's, you know, he had a great match, and then look where he is now. I mean, at least he's on Raw, and he's apparently feuding with the guy from Arrow, but maybe that is something. You never know. But I agree. I don't think we're going to see much more of Zack Ryder, even though he put in a hell of a performance, and the whole Entourage thing.
Can we take a moment and just pay respects to Zack Ryder's 450 splash?
Of course. I mean,
that match.
I don't think anyone would have called that in a million years.
Yeah, I think that was awesome. You guys know that before the podcast, I was one of the biggest Zack Ryder supporters, to the point where even before he became a thing, I was already a fan of him when there was this show called ByteThat. No relation at all. I don't even know what that was, but there was this show called ByteThat where he started this, woo, woo, you know it, clap it up, bro, clap it up. That was the original version. And then for obvious reasons, they got rid of the clap it up. No. And it was good to see this, but just, God damn it. There's no other way to say it. Zack Ryder had so much potential, and this happened. So hopefully maybe it's the start of something, but whatever the case, it was definitely cool. I know, but it was cool. You got to be hopeful in wrestling and then just be shut down.
I will be optimistically surprised if something happens from this.
We shall stay tuned. Now, during Raw, a man was arrested, people. I don't know if you saw this, heard about this. It was a really dark situation. There was a wrestler that attacked a cameraman. The cameraman then pressed charges and led to the arrest of one Dean Ambrose, a smart named John Moxley. And then he came back and looked like a cop and then started singing YMCA. So what do you guys think about the closing segment of Monday Night Raw?
I don't like when they do these kind of hokey things, and it's like they're trying to do Ambrose as like Steve Austin light. Like I remember when he had the hot dog cart or something like that, and like the Coney Island thing, and he was like spraying the mustard and the ketchup. It's just, stop trying to make people drive vehicles into Raw and be Steve Austin, because it only comes off as like totally second rate. And just give Ambrose his own thing. I just don't like the cartoony stuff that they try and do with him. So I thought it was lame, and it's just funny how like that YouTube video surfaced like, halfway or towards the end of the show channel.
As if, that was something that you think the Authority would have
WWE
like,
isn't aware of like extra footage
what happens on their own
like
YouTube channel. No, but and another point to why it kind of came off lame was the commentary team. They did no favors to that segment. Oh, well, I guess he got released, and then I guess they let him borrow a vehicle and a badge and a hat and a uniform. And then, listeners, if you want a drinking game, go back to that final segment and take a shot every single time JBL says, "Can you imagine this lunatic as the next WWE champion?"
Please be 18 or older.
Yes, please be 18 or over,
21.
and please have.
Puerto Rico's 18.
Well, no,
so.
well for me it's 18 because I live in the land of the lawless. But you will be schmammered because, oh my God, JBL that's the only thing he could say.
No, it couldn't have been more PG if it tried, because as you mentioned, Ryan, it didn't just feel like Stone Cold Light. It felt like they were just going all out. The kids love the crazy guy, so let's throw him in there. Got the police hat on, looking all crazy. The commentators are just going to love it. Like, back in the day, like, picture JR and Paul Heyman or JR and King commentating this. It would have been like, oh my God, this is happening. Dean Ambrose was able to be let go, defying the odds and all these things. But Q nowadays is like, hey, he breaking the law.
He's having fun, guys. We have fun on Monday nights, Michael. Like, all that crap. Whereas,
I love it.
JR would be kind of selling the insanity of it all.
Yeah, like, did he steal that police car?
All that being said, commentary aside, I still think it's a dumb idea. Like, stop trying to copy Austin. They've done the vehicle thing so many times, and it's never going to work again the way that it did before.
So I guess you can say times have changed. And man, speaking of times, Takeover happened last week, people. And remember that big rumor that there's just no way that Samoa Joe was going to be in NXT, and Triple H said in a conference call he spoke to him for about 5 minutes but didn't think he'd do business with him. Samoa Joe's in TNA, guys. By TNA, I mean NXT.
Did you just say TNA?
Damn it,
well, good save.
So well.
I'll give you credit for save.
Yeah, see, I sort of made it so like I meant it. I did, I think. But yeah, Samoa Joe is in NXT, so let's just focus on that, because there's a couple of other things I want to delve into. You guys saw Takeover live? Or
Yep.
Yes.
All right, so the match happened. Sammy's saying he's going to be out for a couple of months due to the shoulder situation, so that's why that match happened the way it did. Which, by the way, they did a great job of taking care of Zayn, because that match was very hardcore for what it could have been when you think about the fact that it was basically a one-man show. The music hits. Samoa Joe.
To go back to the Sami Zayn thing, I'm sorry, but you just went a little too far there. Yeah, we'll get to the Joe thing,
Fine.
But one thing I did want to say as regards to Sami Zayn is that yes, you're right, it was pretty intense for like it being a one-man show, But at this point, I'm just so like tired of all Sami Zayn matches ending exactly the same, which is basically Sami Zayn dying in the ring. Like it's tiring. It worked once, maybe it worked twice, but it almost feels like they're going to the well one too many times.
Time to move on.
It's almost the situation of like The Boy Who Cried Wolf, where it's like they used Sami Zayn dying in like previous matches because they wanted to, but now this is like actually the appropriate like situation they should have used it. Like this is the one time it should have been. But they really like Sami Zayn, like, you know, I give him credit, he sells so well that you just think like, how does he even get up? But it happens too many times.
It's so well that he doesn't get up.
It almost gets frustrating when you're just like, come on, like stop being just like completely dead.
He's such a good seller. His shoulder pops up before the match starts. So talk about a salesman. But so that happened. What were you guys' thoughts when you saw that something was going to happen? You know, when he was holding that chair, I knew something was going to happen. But I'm like, can it actually be Joe? Because if not, then who? Like, what were you guys thinking?
I honestly thought it was going to be John Cena, and boy, oh boy, was I surprised when it was Joe. It was just one of those moments like, oh my god, this is actually happening. Like,
yeah, I also thought Cena was going to get involved in some way, and that was almost like WWE was almost kind of smart to have like kind of that red herring there.
Yeah.
And then so Joe showing up, especially with these, you know, he had indie dates in August and stuff, so people thought there was no way. And then for him to just show up, it's like NXT is getting all like the buzz that like Raw should be getting right now, you know? Like NXT is what everyone's talking about.
I would honestly go to say that NXT is the #1 brand in WWE, because really, like, in the grand scheme of things, all Raw is a placeholder until all those guys come up and turn NXT into Raw. I saw Joey Styles on Twitter compare NXT of today to the ECW of yesteryear without all the blood and violence, and he's actually pretty spot on with that.
And drug abuse, you know, don't forget about that.
And yes, true.
Now, we got to talk about the fact that we're not saying Kevin Owens. You know, we're saying Samoa Joe, as in the same name. We've known him for well over a decade, and he shows up like that, wearing a Samoa Joe shirt, and this is where you would say, like, but wait, there's more. Not only is he in NXT, he is the first guy ever in the past 10 years where he can still wrestle independently. He's still wrestling in Ring of Honor, still wrestling in PWG. He is still active in the independent scene while being in NXT, both being under the name Samoa Joe.
Well, I think the thing is they compared his contract to something like Rhino's, where Rhino can also work other like indie shows and stuff. So Samoa Joe is in NXT, but he's not in it in the same way that a lot of the other guys are, like on the roster. Like, you know, over time his contract could change, or I don't know if he can use that same contract and ever be called up to Raw and SmackDown. But for now, I think, you know, he's almost like kind of like a date by date kind of situation. I don't know what, but basically Rhino is the best comparison.
But it's Samoa Joe, and he can wrestle everywhere. I mean,
it's still exciting.
Yeah.
I'm just saying to everyone out there that he's not like officially full on WWE, like definitely going to get called up to Raw. We don't know if he's ever going to even see the light of day when it comes to Raw and SmackDown.
Now, the thing no, definitely. And the thing that I want to bring up is this. Think about the two people that faced off at the end of that show, Takeover, were the two guys that everybody, I mean, almost every forum, you know, like or hate the guys, even the people that loved them straight up said, oh, the WWE are never going to, like, push these guys, let alone hire them or anything. And they close out the frickin' show. So what I want to bring up here is this proof that the WWE is aware that they need to sort of change their ways?
I would say it's like the bigger argument / discussion here would be the old WWE versus this new WWE, like Vince's versus Triple H's, you could almost say, where Vince's WWE might not have hired all these people, where this new WWE going forward, this new progressive one that is like hired Zayn, Owens, Joe, would do them or like would hire these people, because it's not about the body, it's about the ability more than ever now.
Yeah, exactly. I think Keith nailed it, because people always say Vince, he likes to make his own stars. I think Triple H just isn't afraid to hire people who got a reputation, who have some buzz. He's willing to bring in names. Obviously, these people are popular, in the indie scene for a reason. So like people say, like, if you can get over, if you can get over in one place, you can get over anywhere. So I think, Triple H is, he sees these guys and he's not afraid to bring them in and claim, he didn't exactly fully make them on his own.
Now, my closing comments about this is that I think that WWE are getting, they're not there yet, but they're getting what they need to do with the network, which is NXT can be the show for everybody that doesn't like Raw. You don't want to watch WWE by traditional WWE standards? Great. Go to the network and watch NXT. They cater to pretty much everybody else. Maybe there's no blood and all that, but honestly, if you listen to a Kevin Owens interview he did with with Sam Roberts, he talks about the fact that he's done these crazy matches in the past, these double ladder spots, the package pile driver, but NXT is its own thing. It's a different product catering to a different audience, but at the same time it's similar. So I am freaking pumped. I know the tapings already happened, so there's screenshots of Samoa Joe being in action in the NXT ring. That's going to be absolutely awesome. But before getting to the Elimination Chamber predictions, people, we do have a couple of announcements. Remember, we do have a Wrestling Amino account. If you don't know what Wrestling Amino is, it is a social media app for your Android phone. I believe it is also out for iPhone. But basically, it's an app where you can talk about specifically wrestling. So we're talking, imagine like a wrestling message board on your phone where you can post GIFs, whatever you want to call them, you can put them in there. And Ryan, it's time, man. It is happening this week, people. What is happening, Ryan? What?
We are getting the epic blow-off match between one Dandy and one Banana Bread on, as ridiculous as that sounds, on our Wrestling Fantasy League Fight Night is going to be an Inferno match, and you are not going to want to miss it. We put quite an amount of effort into this, and I think you guys will enjoy it.
Yeah, Fight Night is our bread and butter, no pun intended. But we love working on this so much. that too. But last time we had Roman Reigns, quote unquote. We have some really cool things happening because wrestling, we talk about it on the show. It's crazy. Sometimes it gets a little bit too serious. So Fight Night is our way of just sort of pulling back a little bit and just having fun with all that.
And how ridiculous a wrestling promotion would be if we were booking it.
Yeah, I don't think that the WWE would probably hire us unless they have like a third brand. It's like $6 wrestling or $6.50 wrestling. Maybe that can be our thing. And the other thing that I want to bring up is that I actually got an account for ROHWrestling.com, obviously a Ring of Honor, and I got the premium membership, which basically means it's like their WWE network. You can watch old DVDs, you can get discounts on pay-per-views, merchandise, and all that good stuff. You also get access earlier to their TV show. Usually you can watch it on Thursdays, but you can watch it on Monday if you have the membership, and it's awesome. The reason I bring it up is because I may bring it up in a separate video on the channel. I may talk about it in the podcast. I'm trying to expand, broaden the horizon of that which is professional wrestling. So that's why I'm watching ROH Wrestling. And then, Mr. McNulty, I know you and Keith Posha did a little something cool last week that you want to sort of bring up.
Yeah, we last Friday we did a nice little stream. We're playing Saints Row the Third, and we created our characters as CM Punk and John Cena. So I just want to thank everyone that came and hang out with us, gave us a follow, and if you want to head over to twitch.tv/ByteThat and give us a follow, that way you get notified anytime we are streaming. We might stream here and there casually, as well as announce anytime we're doing more of an event like stream. So definitely go over there and hit the follow button, just so you're always aware when we're gonna do something next.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for our Elimination Chamber pay-per-view network event predictions, starting off with the pre-show segment. So this is not a match, but Miz TV's coming back. Miz has been absent ever since ending his feud with Damian Mizdow, and his guest is going to be Dana Bryan. So right off the bat, what do you guys expect to see coming out of this interview?
When is his biography thing come out?
It comes out in July, and I have it pre-ordered.
Okay, because
And there's a DVD coming out soon as well.
Yes,
All right.
a lot.
Because now I was thinking it's going to be one of two things. I mean, they would be doing this for a reason, right? He's not just going to come out there and say, "Hey, how you guys doing?" So, at first I was thinking it's going to be he's coming back. He's going to announce he's coming back, or he's going to announce he's retiring. Although, why would they do it on Miss TV? So now it kind of leads me to believe it's probably going to do something with his biography or his DVD. So that's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, I feel extremely confident that it's just going to be an advertising ploy for the DVD/biography, and then there will probably be some little tease like "I'll see you soon" or something like that. But other than that, I don't expect much more than it.
I actually expect a lot of NXT references since they were part of the original NXT and Miz was his pro, sort of being how NXT is sort of passing him by now with him getting injured and all this good stuff. So that's what I'm expecting. So that is what I am expecting. I cannot talk today.
That happened over 2 years ago and doesn't exist anymore.
Interesting perspective, sir. So the next match, Divas Championship Triple Threat match. Nikki defending against Paige and Naomi. Mr. McNulty, what is going to happen?
I still think Nikki Bella is going to retain here. I don't see them shifting the Divas division quite yet to having a new champion. I think Nikki's going to keep it for a little while. I think they're really going to build up whoever dethrones her, potentially Charlotte. Who knows?
You see, I disagree with that. I think there is going to be a new Divas champion. I think it's going to be the Brock Lesnar situation where I just compared Nikki Bella to Brock Lesnar. Okay, let that sink in. But I think Naomi's going to win this match and she's going to pin Paige. I know I've said for the last couple weeks that this is Paige's title to win, but I don't necessarily feel that anymore. And I think Naomi's going to beat Paige, win the Divas Championship, and that leads to a Nikki versus Naomi, where maybe Nikki gets the title back in a one-on-one.
I'm actually going to have to give it to Naomi. I think that she's on a good roll. And Paige, I don't know. I'm just really getting sort of stale with her situation. So I got to go with Naomi on this one. Next match came out of nowhere. Neville versus Bo Dallas. Mr. McNulty, what is happening?
I can't see any way that Neville doesn't win this match. Their rivalry was pretty awesome in NXT, but in the WWE world, Neville has already established himself far above Bo Dallas in the basically the world of power rankings or tiers in WWE. So Bo Dallas beating Neville would just make Neville look like crap at this point. So Neville wins.
Yeah, I think this is just another match to make Neville look good. I don't see Bo winning at all. I think this goes to Neville.
Yeah, I think this is simply another match to get Neville some wins. He's got a couple losses. He's looked awesome. So I think with Bo Dallas, I think it's a great way to get two NXT guys involved in the WWE scene. So my pick has got to be Neville. Ryan, keep going with the chamber matches.
All right, so we're going to go into the first Elimination Chamber match. So we've got the New Day versus the Ascension versus the Matadors versus the Lucha Dragons versus Cesaro and Kid versus the Prime Time Players. So we've got 6 teams here. I wonder if both competitors are going to be in each chamber thing. We don't really know.
I hope so.
It'll be cool, but anyway, Keith, who do you think's going to win?
One of two things are going to happen, and I'm not sure which one it is, so I'm going to kind of give 2 predictions here. Either the New Day is going to win it, or the New Day is going to be eliminated first. Those are the only 2 scenarios I see happening. If the New Day is eliminated first, I'm going to give it to Cesaro and Kid. But as a bit of a side prediction, I kind of feel like confident betting money that somebody's going to get injured in this match, especially if there's
always good to know.
12... I know, but hold on.
All right, let's knock on wood.
So let's saying that there's all 12 people are in here. You hear wrestlers all the time talk about how difficult battle royals are and how easy they are to get injured in. And now take that battle royal atmosphere and wrap steel all around the ring. It seems like a recipe for disaster with 12 people. So I don't want to see it happen, but it kind of feels like all signs are pointing towards that.
As far as my prediction goes, I'm going to go with the New Day winning this one. I think they are the hottest thing going right now, and there's no reason to take the belts off of them. If anyone's going to win this besides them, though, I would think it would be Cesaro and Kid. I just don't think any of the other teams are just quite there yet, so I'm sticking with New Day.
Yeah, I gotta agree. The New Day is simply doing way too good right now. I think it's gonna be a fun match. Everybody's gonna get their spots in. I am really curious to see what kind of crazy spot they got to do. At some point, Kofi's going to dive off the top on top of everybody. I mean, I don't think anything else is going to be as obvious as that happening. But yeah, either New Day gets eliminated first, as Keith said, but I'm going with New Day being the winners.
All right, we're going to go on to EC number 2. We got King Barrett versus R-Truth versus Ryback versus Rusev versus Sheamus versus Dolph Ziggler for the vacant Intercontinental Championship. Keith, who's going to win?
I'm going with Rusev on this one. I think Rusev being Intercontinental Champion would actually work really well. It's kind of like he can play the role he did with the United States Championship, just not with the whole Russia thing, like just be a brute that holds the championship basically hostage. And yeah, he's the person I don't know if he's going to be the person that wins, but he's the person I want to see win the most.
All right, I'm actually going with Sheamus on this one. I think Rusev and Ziggler are going to get like preoccupied with each other, and Sheamus just seems like the right guy to put the belt on right now. Since he's been so dominant and has just been involved in a lot of singles feuds, and I feel like he's got a lot of, as a new heel, he's got a lot of feuds he can still do.
Yeah, I think there's no question about it. Sheamus has been absolutely awesome. He has a podcast interview. I forget who it was with, but it was basically amazing.
I think Jericho?
And really, yeah, I think it was Jericho, and just you can tell he loves the character, and he needed that change. So I definitely see him becoming IC champion and not losing the championship for a very long time.
And moving on to EC3. Oh wait, that's TNA. We're gonna go to the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match. We've got, well, you know what? No, wait. We shouldn't go to that one. We should save that one for last. We're gonna go to John Cena versus Kevin Owens.
This is the real main event, though.
All right, you want to do the
watching for the championship match?
All right, I'm gonna go in the order that the agenda's on. WWE World Heavyweight Championship match. Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose. Keith.
Seth Rollins, because why would they take the title off Rollins right now?
All right. Well, there you go. And,
I mean, it's really
true.
that simple.
No, it's true. And I agree with you. Ambrose, he's just kind of thrown into this. They always have fantastic matches, but there's no way that Ambrose is winning, unfortunately. So definitely Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins will win the match. That's pretty much it. That's all there is to say. It's going to be a good match, but let's be honest here.
It's going to be a great match, but the ending is just quite predictable. At least it seems like.
I'm just realizing, where the hell is Roman Reigns?
It's because, I think Roman Reigns is going to be involved in some way in this match. I don't know how. Maybe to even the score. Maybe the whole he's the equalizer when the Authority comes out to do the Authority thing, but
is it kind of insane that he's not on this card? Do you think he'll get thrown in last minute?
I don't think so, because Money in the Bank is up next, and I think that's Roman Reigns'
and he already did announce he was going to be in that match, but it still just seems weird.
I think it's just a way to cool things off.
It's a way for them to cool things off and not have Roman Reigns shoved down everybody's throat. They're like, oh, everybody likes Dean Ambrose. Well, guess what? He's Dean Ambrose's friend, so now you like Roman too, right? That's kind of what's going on.
All right, fair enough. Final match, the main event, even though we don't know what's going to actually go on last. We've got John Cena, U.S. Champion versus NXT Champion. As far as I know, it's a non-title match, so we don't have to worry about any weird scenarios. John Cena versus Kevin Owens. Who is going to win? Keith.
My heart says Kevin Owens, my heart wants Kevin Owens, but my brain says John Cena, because if you look at the feud, Kevin Owens came out, debuted, was very dominant against John Cena, 2 weeks in a row now. So one might say that there's some odds that have been created that John Cena might have to overcome in this match to beat Kevin Owens. Now, if history is a teller of anything, it is that John Cena can overcome those odds because he's done it over and 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 over again until the end of time. But on the other side of the coin, this match isn't for the United States Championship, so I could see the argument where Kevin Owens picks up a victory over Cena, but I still feel like Cena's going to win.
I'm going to say Cena wins, lol, and it's not even going to be a bad thing. I mean, John Cena shouldn't be losing to a guy that's in NXT if he's not going to get called up immediately. And I don't think Owens is going to get called up immediately, but it's still going to be a great match, I think, and I'm looking forward to it. And Keith's right. Opposite momentum states Cena's probably going to win. Juan?
I believe Kevin Owens wins, lol. Why? Because remember at the beginning of the show, we talked about the Authority and how they're becoming stale and how they need a purpose. Kevin Owens is that purpose because Triple H, everybody knows he is the man behind NXT. Pull the curtain and make that the storyline. John Cena is the WWE, Triple H is NXT. There you go, boom. Instead of Nexus, you just have this thing that's happening that doesn't have to take over Raw because they already have their own show. And then Kevin Owens wins, does not become U.S. champion. He can even say, I beat Cena, I don't even need to be on Raw. If you want to watch me, if you want to watch a moneymaker, go watch NXT. So I think that's what's going to end up happening. All right now, ladies and gentlemen, obviously there are a lot of things happening about the world of TNA. We are still waiting for that to develop, to just cook, to really see what's going on. And we will be talking about it either in a weekend video or in the podcast, so stay tuned for that. And until then, Mr. Poshik, take it away with the podcast questions.
Yes, we have questions, Juan. That is correct. I'm going to try to get through this without sounding in agonizing pain because I just stubbed my toe and it hurts like hell. All right. First question from Nick M. Thank you. It's a good one. All the people at home listening can really see this smile and this pain. Yeah, they can feel it. It doesn't feel good. All right. Question. Nick M. King B&B. He's on Twitter. NKBE1324. He asks, do you think the Cena-Owens feud is a one-time thing, or do you think it will turn into a full-fledged rivalry?
For right now, I think it's a one-time thing. After this, as far as Cena and Owens, could this blossom into something like NXT versus WWE for the summer? I think there's a good possibility, but as far as this isolated feud, for now, I think it's a one-time thing.
I think it's a test right now to see how things work because there's a factor we haven't brought up, which is, will this bring a lot of viewers to NXT? And I think that indication, not even the overall reaction on Raw or Chamber, is going to be the way where if they do Cena Owens, or as you just mentioned, Ryan, NXT WWE, but do I think it's going to happen? Yes.
Yeah, I think, Ryan, you hit the nail on the head. Is it going to be between those two, is it a one-off thing? Yes. Will it eventually lead to something greater? Totally. And I think that's going to be awesome when it happens. So, Mr. Nick M. or King BNB, whichever one you prefer, thank you for the question. On to the next one, coming from Mr. Barney Johnson at Barnaballs on Twitter. He asks, do you think there are any hardcore TNA fans that have never heard of the WWE? And if so, why have they never heard of it?
It is actually interesting. I never thought about this, which is there somebody that watches TNA that does not know about the WWE? I think that's actually impossible. In no way, either through advertisement or something. So my answer has to be no.
I think TNA does themselves a discredit in this respect because they try so hard to be the WWE. Like they'll even mention it in their shows. So if these people exist, they've probably gone, well, I wonder what this thing is that they're always trying to imitate, and then found it that way.
I feel like the only way that is possible is if there was some kid who was just born and raised in Universal, like Orlando Park or whatever, like the amusement park, and he's just lived there his whole life and has never seen anything outside of it. So all he knows for wrestling is TNA.
Okay, so here's an example. Like, try to wrap your head around this one. Like, this would be something like that for us. Imagine growing up in a world where you only heard about Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis never existed. It would be like that. It just seems ludicrous.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of happened at the beginning, but yeah.
But I think it's WWE's brand awareness. It's just so vast, and they to pretty much everybody, they are wrestling, at least mainly in the United States, and but obviously WWE's all over the world. So it's very, very difficult to think that there's anyone that believes that, but you can't really rule it out.
I mean, anything is possible, right? And in my example, by the way, WWE is the Super Nintendo and TNA is totally the Genesis. # blast processing.
I don't know,
Mr.
they might
Barney
be the
Johnson?
Atari Jaguar or something.
Well, yes. Yes, actually, yes, they would. But regardless, Mr. Barney Johnson, thank you for your question. Now, on to the final question.
Is that what you've been laughing about?
Yes. Oh, I can't wait for this one.
Okay, let's get through this. Mr. Danny Wheatley at Balboa's Bomber on Twitter asks...
I think it's Watley, but...
I don't... Yeah, okay, fine, Watley. Which
We love you, everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I love you, but... He asks, which 3 wrestlers would you have in your human centipede?
Oh my god.
Okay. Who has the honors of going first? I got my picks.
I'll go first.
All right, shoot.
All right. The front, Road Dogg, because he's the mouthpiece.
Wait, I'm going to make this worse for you, Keith. For those that don't know what the human centipede is, Keith, what is it?
All right, The Human Centipede is a messed up movie that happened, I don't even know how long ago. I watched it personally about 5-6 years ago, is where this crazy German scientist, I think he was, takes 3 human beings and basically turns them into a centipede, where he surgically attaches them mouth to anus. So you got the mouth, like you got the front person, he's got a mouth. You've got the middle person who gets the worst of both worlds, and then you've got the back, which is just the mouth, which is a pretty bad world to live in, but at least you're not have both sides going on. Anyway, on to my centipede, if I have to.
In order.
Like I said, start from the front, Road Dogg, he's the mouthpiece. In the middle, we have X-Pac, because... the best of both worlds.
Bad for the person in the back. They're gonna get a tornadoes.
Oh man!
Oh no! And in the back is Billy Gunn because he's Mr. Ass anyway. So might as well be the living
that's
incarnate.
Actually beautiful. All right,
break it down.
I'll go.
That's my answer. I'm done.
All right, in the front.
See you next week.
Imagine this one. In the front, we get the Big Show. In the middle, Santino Marella. And in the back, Mark Henry.
Poor Santino.
I'm sorry, but that one would just be hilarious to me.
Okay, for me, I'm starting from the back. In the back, Scotty Too Hottie. In the middle, Rikishi. In the front, Grandmaster Sexay. How do I transition into the end of the show? I mean, thanks to everybody for the questions. They've been awesome. And obviously, we are a little bit traumatized about this. But wrestling, sometimes it sort of feels like your mouth is up against an anus, I guess. So it's maybe metaphorically the best way to end the show. At least that's what I'm sticking to it. So thank you guys for everything. So, Mr. Poshik, just closing thoughts about, okay, no, he's done. So, Ryan, you take it away.
All right, well, we want to thank everyone who's still listening at this point to the ByteThat podcast. As usual, we're going to get through our plugarinos and let you know what's going on. Like I said, if you want to follow our Twitch TV, you can go to twitch.tv/ByteThat. That way you get a notification anytime we happen to be streaming. As always, go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ByteThatCast. If you have not hit the subscribe button, please make sure to do so. This Thursday, we've got Fight Night, the Inferno match, Dandy versus Banana Bread, our fantasy WWE wrestling league that we do with 2K14. It's an awesome time. You definitely want to check that out. Of course, you can check out last week's SRT, where we talk about if WWE is better presented as a sport or a TV show. And of course, you can check out our other social medias. You can check out Wrestling Amino, just search ByteThat. Instagram, search the same thing. Twitter, we are at ByteThatCast. And of course, you can always send us an email at ByteThatCast@gmail.com. For everything else, you can go to ByteThat.com. So thank you guys once again for listening, and we will see you next week.
Hey, are we still there? Or is this thing... Hey, if you're still here, first of all, thank you. Second of all, here's a bonus Twitter question that's about to get really awkward. What would the ByteThat human centipede look like? Send us a tweet at ByteThatCast. Bye-bye.